lens hoods, are they really essential for landscape photography, or are they just another piece of gear taking up space in the camera bag? Let's break down both the pros and the cons to see just how needed they truly are. And with any luck, I'll capture some great shots of the Kent countryside around my home in the process. And I really do hope that by the end of this little mini hike, this fog, this mist that wasn't predicted, disappears, because I can get some lovely views across the valley. But we'll have to wait and see, won't we? That last shot probably would have looked a little bit better had I waited for a train. It's typical impatience for me to hang around too long at any scene. But lens hoods, let's start with the basics. The lens hoods, of course, are designed to protect the lens, the glass, from the natural elements, those elements being things like rain, dust, the sun. Take my holiday out to the Isle of Wight a couple of years ago. Took an evening trip out to Freshwater Bay. Beautiful, beautiful stretch of the coast down on the island. Got some lovely sea stacks. Now, I got caught up in the moment, was taking shot after shot, and a little bit of drizzle appeared. I thought, no bother, it's not gonna be a problem. Didn't have a lens hood on. Only, as well, I wasn't checking my images when I was taking the shots. I was just too focused on the moment, capturing what was in front of me. Of course, when I got home about a week later, the shots, they were ruined. They all had drops of rain all over them. Too much to try and edit out of in Lightroom. Probably kept half a dozen of them. So it was a lesson to be learnt that day. Should have used a lens hood, in which case, for the most part, unless of course the rain is coming from a certain angle, the lens hood would have protected the glass. I wouldn't have had so many rain spots, if at all, on the lens. Lesson learnt on that particular occasion. Another great example is the sun. If you're shooting during golden hour and your camera's pointing towards the sun is going up or coming down, then having a lens hood on can protect the camera from lens flare, getting lens spots on the lens. All just little things that just help save you from having to do too much work in post-processing. Work you wouldn't have to do if you're adequately prepared. Another positive of using lens hoods is they add an extra layer of protection for your lens, for your camera. I hadn't been back into photography for very long. We're talking back in 2021. And I'd gone out for sunset. Again, another local location. And on this occasion, I'd stepped away from the camera. The camera was on the tripod, I might add. Stepped away just to see if I could see a better angle to shoot an image from. Now, the camera wasn't, or the tripod I should say, wasn't nice and secure on the ground. I'd walked away, the tripod toppled over, camera went down. Now on that occasion I had a lens hood on the front of the camera. The lens hood hit the ground first, meaning that it was just a cheap bit of plastic that got broken, that got ruined, and the lens itself was fine. So of course, if ever you have to worry about dropping them, which has happened a few times for me unfortunately, using a lens hood can just give you a little bit of extra peace of mind, especially given how expensive glass, how expensive lenses can be. What are the negatives? Well, to begin with, they're quite expensive, at least Canons are. If you buy them from the official Canon store, sometimes they can be about 40, 50 pounds, which for a bit of plastic, it's a little bit expensive in my opinion. But then again, the whole hobby is really, isn't it? And then, of course, you get the weird names, the EPW4 to go with the RF 100 to 400mm. Because that lens hood is designed for that lens, you have to get different lens hoods for your other lenses. With that in mind, I've got 3 lenses now, only got 2 lens hoods. Something for me to think about when I invest in the future. Of course, you could buy third-party ones, get them for a little bit cheaper. And then there is the individual preference that each of us have. I don't know if you've noticed from when I've been out taking shots today, but if you notice when I've used my 100 to 400mm, my telephoto lens, I've nearly always got the lens hood on the front of the lens. When I'm using my 24 to 105, my main lens, I don't have it on the front. Now, why is that? Well, in case you're wondering, I'll tell you that right away. And that is because I favour having my step-up ring on the front of my 24 to 105mm. Why am I using a step-up ring on my 24 to 105mm, I hear you ask? Well, it's so that when I see a shot where I want to take with my magnetic lens filters, maybe I'm out at the coast and I'm shooting long exposures with my ND filters, or if I want to use my polarizing filter, it's just an easy case of get the filter out, clip it on using the magnetic function, and away I go. Because I'm saving money on my lens filters by having a step up, so those lens filters are applicable for every lens that I've got, it means that the step-up ring itself is too big for the lens hood. So, in short, I've got to make a sacrifice somewhere. I've either got to have the choice of when I go out, I have the lens hood on the front, or I can have my step-up ring with the option to use my magnetic filters. Of course, you're probably thinking, why don't you just take one off, put the other on? Excuse me, losing my voice here a little bit, not great. But yeah, I hear you ask, why don't I just use one over the other, just chop and change as I go? Far too much effort for me, I think. Do you ever get the feeling that you're taking a shot? There's really no point in taking it. I've got this scene here in front of me that I think would look at so much better if we didn't have this dense fog. It really makes use of leading lines, which I like to use wherever possible. Naturally, not just the rule of thirds when it comes to thinking about composition. We've got the pathway leading along down by the trees. We've got a house, a cottage, nice dead centre in the frame. Of course, all this almost negative dead space with the crops which are of course going to grow over the course of the next couple of months. And then the main subject, which I think from this distance doesn't quite work because I've got a feeling I might have to use the dehaze tool, might make the overall image look a bit weird. But we've got Rochester Bridge in the distance, the main motorway which leads you on down to France. Like I say, I think it's just a little bit too foggy at the moment, which is just a little bit frustrating because I think on a clear day this shot would work. You've got a car with its headlights down on the road in the distance. So kind of got all these lines leading off towards the bridge, and then the bridge is disappearing off into the foggy distance. It might not come out how I want it to, this one. I think this might be a good experimental image, in all honesty. It works great. if it doesn't, I've not lost out. So, the lens hoods, are you yay or you nay? Do you prefer not using them? Let me know what your preference is down in the comments below. I think that is where I'm going to leave this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. But until next time, it's goodbye.